Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, January 5. The National Identification System, NIDS, will be fully operational this year. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the commitment during Tuesday's tour of the NIDS Card Centre at the Post and Telecommunication Department on South Camp Road in Kingston. The facility will be responsible for producing the identification cards issued under NIDS. It includes the production centre, vault area and enrolment site. Prime Minister Holness says the system will allow government to streamline its services to properly plan for and distribute public resources.
One of the big problems we have always faced as a government is that some get and then others don't. And one of the reasons why you have that problem is that we just don't account for everyone. So we are not able to plan for everyone. And what we're doing in our 60th year now with the establishment of the NIDS is to ensure that every single Jamaican can be included, accounted for, and properly served with the National Identification System.
NIDS Program Director Warren Vernon says the system is 80% complete. This, he says, is being bolstered by the recruitment of technical experts to operate equipment, carry out verification, and staff enrollment sites.
We intend to use the next 4 months to fine-tune the system, to do all of our testing, security testing and so on. We are also using the time to set up pilot enrollment sites across Kingston to facilitate the pilot. We are also in the process of fine-tuning all of the requirements to establish the National Identification and Registration Authority.
Education Minister Favour Williams says the government will continue to facilitate the resumption of face-to-face classes, which began on January 3, while being guided by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
They are the ones who have been guiding us through the pandemic. And as the Ministry of Education, we work very closely with the Ministry of Health and Wellness on this whole question of whether or not our children should be back in school, how they should be back, when they should be back.
Minister Williams was speaking yesterday at the donation of a cartridge-free printer and reams of paper to the Rock Hall Primary School in St. Andrew. Meanwhile, at today's post-cabinet press briefing, Minister Williams said 608 schools reopened for the Easter term across all 7 regions. 173 primary schools and 120 secondary institutions are still operating in the online space.
So far, the majority of schools that are back in the face-to-face environment have reported no issues. There are some schools that reported to us, and those were 23 schools reported that students or teachers would have called in to say that they have flu-like symptoms and were remaining at home. In one instance, there's one school that reported the principal having called in to say that he had tested positive for COVID and was remaining at home.
Face-to-face resumption of classes began using a phase-in approach in November last year. Thus far, all pre-primary, primary and secondary schools have been allowed to facilitate face-to-face classes for this school term. The Education Ministry recommends that a blended learning approach be used to include online lessons, audiovisual classes and learning kits. The school train service Back on Track will officially roll out on Monday, January 10 in St. Catherine. The rollout, which was initially scheduled for January 3, had to be pushed back as school administrators are using the week to prepare for face-to-face classes. Back on Track student transportation service will begin with 3 engines and 6 coaches. A train will leave from Old Harbour at 6:30 in the morning and arrive in Spanish Town by 6:55 a.m. Another service will leave Linstead at 6:20, getting to Spanish Town by 7 a.m. Once the trains arrive in Spanish Town, the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, will take students along the routes to Jose Marti, Jonathan Grant, St. Catherine, St. Jago, Innswood and Spanish Town High Schools. At the recent launch, Transport and Mining Minister Robert Montague said the service would largely benefit students on the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH.
I am very happy and proud. Proud of my ministry, proud of my people, proud of the collaboration that we were able to work together for the interest of our children and the nation's future.
I am extremely happy for what is happening here this morning for those 400 students who will be able to take the train to school or the combination of the train and the JUTC to school and back.
The Back on Track School Train Service is a partnership involving the Ministries of Transport and Education, the Jamaica Railway Corporation, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and the JUTC. In other news, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is reminding the public of some of the crash hotspots across the country and is appealing to motorists to exercise extra care when traversing these roadways. Crash hotspots are areas where 2 or more crashes and road fatalities have occurred. Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, says the crash hotspots have been mapped and personnel have been deployed. The areas include the toll highway between Caymanas and the Vineyards, Nelson Mandela Highway, and Michael Manley Boulevard in the corporate area.
If we look at St. Catherine, Old Harbour Road, Clarendon, Bustamante Highway, St. Anne, the Landover Main Road, St. James, the Rosal Main Road, those areas are areas of concern, and we have heightened our presence. However, we continue to appeal to drivers to slow down.
In 2021, 482 persons lost their lives on the nation's roads, surpassing the 432 recorded in 2020. And finally, 42 wards of the state, housed at the Mount Olivet Home for Boys in Walderston, Manchester, received gifts for the Christmas holidays from the Jamaica Information Service and partnering sponsors to the home. A visit by a team from the JIS and Olympian Johan Blake, representing his Why Be Afraid Foundation, lifted the spirit of the boys at their annual dinner and awards and gift presentation on December 12.
The boys always look forward to this time of year when you get a lot of goodies. The JIS team is such a wonderful team, and they have been such a tower of strength to the boys here, especially when it comes to the education of our boys.
You are so important to us that we are here, and we are here to support you, to encourage you, and to celebrate with you.
You are the man of tomorrow. You are going to take over. And don't matter feel like through you're not home, you can't achieve what you want to achieve. Never once doubt yourself.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.